a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That trade season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that, hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I'll probably crack in my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Grand Rising and good morning to everybody out there. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and I love to throw this out there on Thursdays. It's actually Friday Eve, y'all. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm excited to get into it with my guy, my co-host with the most. You know we got to do this as a duo. What's up, Big O?
Trey Holiday, what's up? Happy Thursday to you.
Happy Thursday, my friend.
Throwback Thursday, yeah. Friday Eve. Man, it's cold and raining outside.
Cold and raining, yeah, you know, it is.
You know, but man, it's good to be back on set with you today. You were very heavy, emotional kind of day here in the Morning Update Show. So you want to bounce back good today?
Yeah. And a Throwback Thursday is always a good time to do so, particularly when we have this amazing throwback always behind us. I'm telling you.
Man, you put a lot of pressure on it. We're only going back today, Throwback Thursday. We're only going back 12 months exactly to this date. You know, it was a real special day for me. One of my colleagues that I worked with over there at Choice FM and Clouds FM in Tanzania, Abby Platt, she came 1 year ago and visited the studio. So we're gonna revisit that. Also, we got some we'll talk here a little bit. The mayor right now is signing the budget. It's a lot of money. I think it ends up being $7.1 billion. You know what I'm saying? What's up? Can I hold something? So the mayor's signing the budget. We'll talk about that. And then also wanted to talk about Councilmember Tammy J. Morales. She brought up something here, and this is going to be later on in the show. But Councilmember Morales joins community to grieve and plan urgent action with Mayor-elect after Mount Baker shooting. And I'm bringing attention to this because, for a long time you sit here and it's a broken record for us. We want to hear our elected officials acknowledge the trauma being experienced there in the streets. And the council member, we were actually down in Belize when she released this statement, so I didn't catch it then, but I caught back 2 days ago. I saw it and actually had an opportunity to speak briefly with the council member. So we'll talk about that as well. And a little bit about Belize, of course. And there's the soul market.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll get into that. But here we go, Mr. Delgado, camera up. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. And right now is the perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the rainy Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. They actually played it. They had us on air this morning. A big portion of the show was our discussion yesterday, and then Justin Carter's update on Councilmember Sawant. And this is why, by the way, because we're in a very historic building down here on the waterfront, bordering Pioneer Square, and it was built for great acoustics, right? But not so much for TV. And so we're working on that. But that's why we use these stick mics right here, because this is the best audio that they get when they can put it on radio and also our podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Keep it crisp.
Keep it crisp. So yeah, big shout out 91.3 KBCS. Also want to remind you that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Mr. Delgado has SoundCloud right there, but you can also check us out on Google, Spotify, iTunes, and so many other places. All you need to do is search Converge Media Network. Man, the Omicron virus, the Omicron variant is out there. And we'll play a clip here in a second, but right now is the time we want to remind everybody that if you need to get vaccinated, if you need to get a booster shot, they said only 21% of all Americans who are eligible for a booster shot have taken the booster. So if you need to get boosted, or if you need to get tested, there's a link right there. Mr. Delgado has put in the comments. You can click that. Also, FAQs, I said, there's so many different areas on this, but still also a lot of space and grace for our people in our community who are vaccine hesitant. You can find some information there, and always feel free, man, hit me up, Omari, OMARI at whereweconverge.com.
Yeah, this is important. I mean, when we talk about this variant, again, I think we've all been trying to learn as this information comes out, just like we did with COVID. It was this slow rolling, right? We had a lot of kind of misinformation out there, and I think it's still prevalent to this day. And so there's so many different resources to really get informed, be educated on the decision to get vaccinated. Or if you're saying, look, it's not enough information for me, that's okay too. I don't particularly care for how it's polarizing in our community. So I love the fact that we keep uplifting, hey, the vaccine is there, it's readily available, and it's free right here for all of you guys in King County.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Of all the things that already divide our community, impact our community, traumatize our community, we don't need to let this be another add-on and also be a wedge point for people to divide us even more. So like I said, if you're hesitant about the vaccine, I mean, in a lot of cases, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Especially as the news keeps saying. So people who are hesitant be getting more and more hesitant as they watch the news. They're like, damn, dog.
Yeah.
This thing keeps changing. But look, here's a clip right here from CBS Morning, some of the latest update on what's going on with the Omicron variant.
The Omicron variant has been detected here in America. The first confirmed case of the strain was found in San Francisco in a person who was vaccinated but who has not gotten their booster shot just yet. So far, only 21% of eligible adults in this country have been given the booster. That leaves more than 100 million vaccinated people who have not received a booster and may have declining immunity. Nancy Cordes is at the White House with the latest on the government's response. Good morning to you, Nancy.
Good morning, Gail. The president is going to be unveiling a new set of policies today designed to help make things a little smoother this winter, a winter that now features this unpredictable new variant. The plans are meant to reduce the transmission of COVID and to bring down the cost of at-home testing.
We'll fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion.
Starting early next week, the Biden administration will require all international air travelers to get tested within 1 day of departure instead of 3.
It's relatively straightforward. We're prepared to implement it as soon as they want us to implement it.
The administration will also extend mask mandates on public transit through mid-March. It'll also launch family vaccination clinics and require health insurers to cover 100% of the cost of at-home COVID tests. The new measures come 1 day after the first case connected to the new variant was detected here in the U.S.
The sequence was confirmed at the CDC as being consistent with the Omicron variant.
The infected individual lives in San Francisco, but returned from South Africa on November 22nd, just a few days before scientists there revealed the existence of the new variant. The traveler tested positive a week later.
The evidence that an individual with Omicron identified by sequencing actually has mild symptoms, is improving, I think is a testimony to the importance of the vaccinations.
The CDC has directed airlines to provide the names of any passengers who traveled to the 8 southern African nations near where the variant was first detected within the past 14 days. The California traveler was vaccinated but did not have a booster shot, and U.S. officials are mulling over the possible necessity of an Omicron-specific booster.
The administration has been in contact with the pharmaceutical companies to go ahead and take the steps in case we need it. But the mistake people would make is to say, let me wait and see if we get one. If you're eligible for boosting, get boosted right now.
All U.S. adults now eligible for a booster if it's been 6 months since that Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. Now, scientists won't know whether the Omicron-related booster is necessary until they're able to study how responsive the variant is to the current batch of vaccines. The president is slated to announce all these new policies at the National Institutes of Health this afternoon.
All right, so few things here is that, you know, this is a lot of this. It's just crazy. I guess I don't have any better way to say it, but it's like, you know, in like I said, in leaving space and grace in the conversation, we can see why people are hesitant around this vaccine because the goal line keeps moving. And here we have somebody, they said that he was partially vaccinated, got this new variant, but because partially vaccinated has less symptoms and some everything else. And I think that some of the way that this stuff is communicated out to the public, it further drives this thing of like, well, man, is this a vaccine the real deal, or is a vaccine not, or you're still gonna get it, or if you get it, you're not gonna die, and everything else. And despite the messaging that people are doing here on the local level, these guys there in DC, they get on there and it turns everybody into a panic. And I think it further separates people from vaccinated to unvaccinated to the just straight up anti-vaxxers. There's some people who are like, yo, I'm just anti-vax, and they're in their own kind of bucket. You know what I'm saying? They're against all the vaccines, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, the crazier parts about all of this is that it's affecting so much of our society and things that people considered as norms. You could have been an anti-vaxxer all this time, but you found a way to travel internationally or to travel to certain areas. Now there's all of these restrictions, and with President Joe Biden coming out and being able to like let everybody know exactly what's going on in terms of new policy that's coming from the federal level, it means that there's so many more adjustments everybody is having to make. And I think that you're right in terms of, hey, this is very new for all of us, right? And you know, so there's a large dialogue happening out there in discourse around the fact that this is why it takes vaccines years and years to show the effect. I mean, people are talking about that and how this vaccine came out quickly, and they had all this information about why it came out quickly and how it was still going to be effective because they had more and more history to go off of. But these are the things that give people even more hesitancy. You're absolutely right.
Well, I mean, in a lab, there's a lot of things that you can duplicate. You know, you can duplicate like pressure, heat, all these kinds of time. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's difficult to duplicate what something's going to do in 3 years without letting it do its thing for 3 years
Right.
or 4 years and come back. And I think that instead of having just really just keeping it real, and keeping it real is like, okay, this coronavirus is here. This is something that we haven't really tackled before. We're using maybe the best science or whatever technology that we have right now to combat it. But you know what? This thing very well could be X, Y, and Z, and we don't have, because then that sets an expectation of every time there's just this panic in it, and it shocks the world, literally impacts global economy, impacts everything else that's going on over here. I mean, I'm sure people are well intending, but it's the way that these things are communicated out there, and then you shut down a whole part of a whole continent, and some everything else. But all of that being said, like I said, I will say that if you need to get vaccinated, if you need to get booster, if you want more information, anything else, go ahead and hit that link that Curtis put right there. Did you have anything else to say on that?
Well, my only thoughts was that as, we start involving our youth, I think that creates another layer of this discussion and concern for parents out there, putting things into your children. You're not sure how it's going to affect them in many years. I was telling my son this. I said, when I was growing up, chicken pox was a thing, right? Like, I had to go over to my grandma's house where, my cousins were being raised when they got the chicken pox so that I could get the chicken pox. It was like people were throwing chicken pox parties. Like, okay, your family got it. You go get it right now, get done with it, right? And that was little small itchy boils all over your skin. And it was something we grew up with. It was just like, we know eventually you're going to get chicken pox, and you get it one time and then you'll never get it again. But my kids, the next generation, they don't even have to deal with chicken pox at all because it got eradicated. So it's interesting.
It's interesting. People don't get chicken pox no more. Huh?
That's right. It's like not a thing anymore.
Hey, remember when COVID first hit? We reported they were over in Walla Walla having the COVID parties.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying here. That that's not nothing new necessarily.
Yeah. Ultimately, you know what I'm saying? I want people to make the decisions that are best, you know what I'm saying, for them. We can put the information that's out here. Again, we want to be able to leave some space. Man, everything's really a driver to division. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting to see how we're gonna fight over the rain. I'll be like, the rain is your fault. Oh, the rain is your fault. All right, here. On the happier, we talked about rain. Let's talk about the polar opposite. We got to throw something in here. We got another video, short clip that came out from our recent trip down to Belize. This was put together by Brady McAtee. I didn't make this trip. I was sitting there in the hotel on the computer all day, so I didn't make it over there. But this is Southwater Key. We'll play this, and it turns out you learned a new song.
When I tell you, man, Southwater Keys, I gotta give you guys a little bit of a joke here because as the crew, we thought the whole time our guy Richie right there, shout out to you, Richie, who was doing amazing as a tour guide for us on Southwater Keys. We thought he was saying Saltwater Keys. So the whole time we were saying Saltwater Keys and he was saying South with his accent. I mean, oh, you missed an amazing trip. It was a private island. It was so beautiful out there. We got to snorkel. We were trying the paddle boards. It was very difficult in terms of paddle boards, but kayaks, paddleboard, snorkeling. I mean, really, we enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I saw, of course, I saw the footage. You guys did a lot. And you see, who knew Mr. Delgado besides being a director here on the show? He knows how to play the little. You see him over there, and yeah, also big shout out to Pelican Beach Resort there in Don Griga.
Yeah, Don Griga, amazing crew over there at Pelican Resort. And honestly, again, we got to see so many different hidden gems of Belize in the country. So I got to give a shout out to the Belize Tourism Board, man. They had us nice and on lock.
Yeah, no, speaking of that, and so people have been hitting me, right? Because a lot of people still didn't realize that the flight from Seattle to Belize City is nonstop. Right. And I'm like, yeah, you get there 5 hours. And I was on the factors last night. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, it's a nonstop flight. And the best thing is that it's not a discount experience. You know what I'm saying? Like lots of people, everybody's getting these flights, getting out of the country, trying to spread their wings a little bit as long as we can here. But like I had a good experience on a plane. And I'm a big flyer. And that was my first time. So all honesty here, you know what I'm saying? Delta Diamond, Million Miler, that was my first time flying Alaska Airlines in probably like 25 years. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 20 years flying Alaska Airlines. And I was really taken back by the level of service, the level of care. Some of them flight attendants remind you of like your family. You know what I'm saying? You be on there with auntie. You know what I'm saying? Hey, baby, you clicked in over here. And you know what I'm saying? Just the level of service. I know. When was the last time you flew Alaska?
It's been a while. And so I agree with you that to be able to be so proud of our hometown airline and to be able to partner with them. We talked about this partnership at a wide level, kind of like the larger level, but that day it was phenomenal. I mean, everybody that was representing Alaska was so personable. I mean, as me and Jules were walking through the airport, literally one of the Alaska Airlines employees is passing us and she goes, oh my gosh, the Converge Queens. And we were like, oh, hey. She's like, I've been working with you guys on this. And so it was so great because they were gracious. They were personable. I mean, honestly, it was amazing hospitality with everybody that was on top of Alaska Airlines and really connected. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I was having a conversation and I was like, I was kind of like thinking that it's kind of like soul food, right? Follow me here. I know airline is soul food, but this is true, especially in the hood, right? We know some of the best people. They're so nice. They're kind. They volunteer everywhere. They donate. All these kind of things. They own soul food restaurant, but the food is, but they're really good people, right? And so you're like, and then, there's the restaurant where the hours say that they open, you show up, they're closed, the service is bad, they be barking at you from the kitchen, but the food is fire, right? And so it's like a lot of times, even in something like this with the airline, it's hard to get both. It's hard to get like the people who you really love, and you know what I'm saying, and they're amazing people and everything else, and the great service. And so it's like, we got a nice plate of soul food right here, with Alaska with that experience. So I'm looking forward to like seeing what else we might be able to do with them in the future.
Yeah, me too. And I gotta say, I'm so thankful. I mean, everybody that was on that inaugural flight, Alaska Airlines said, look, this is not the last time you're gonna be flying with us. We're making sure y'all know how we get down, and you guys are gonna get a round trip ticket to anywhere Alaska flies. I mean, when they did that, man, it was lit up in the airport. Everybody was like, what?
Yeah, that's the Delight flight. And just to let you know, I would like to think that was just because of it was us. But these guys are always doing these Delight flights. That's why they have a high customer retention. You just show up to the gate and they're like, what? We got a free ticket. So big shout out to you guys over there at Alaska Airlines. Appreciate you. And man, we got a ton of stuff coming from them. One last thing here before we take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, we got our Throwback Thursday. We're also going to be talking about Councilmember, Seattle City Councilmember Morales, speaking up about gun violence is happening there in District 2. Before that, though, we had these two young men in the studio yesterday. I'm going to put this up. It's the Factors, Ronald and Ronell Moore. They were in here. They shot an episode last night. It's good to have them back in the studio. They go all the way back to Jackson Street. You know what I'm saying? Original Converge Media content creators, man. And it was just like peas and carrots in here last night. And we can't wait to actually, air some of this content.
I love it. First of all, I love the twins. What's up, brothers? We really got close during the CD Panthers season because my son was getting coached by one of the bros. So it just became even more of a family. And then when they start realizing who my brothers are, it's just like that first degree of separation in the community. When you grew up in the CD, you're from the Central District, like, man, you're bound to know almost everybody. So I'm so glad that they made their way into the studio last night. I know it's going to be some fire content.
Yeah, you already know it's going to be good with the Factors. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we're talking some Throwback Thursday, and then we're talking gun violence disruption. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Lisa Gordon here on Converge Media, giving you that tip you didn't know you needed for Market Street Shoes over in Ballard. Check this out. Not only do they have great shoes for the summertime, but they have the shoes that you didn't even know you needed for the fall and winter. We all know it not only rains and snows a lot out here, so you definitely need those boots, but you also need a little bit of luggage, or at least a bag to put your clothes in, because let's be frank, we all love to get out of here during the fall and winter and go somewhere a little bit warmer. So whether you need accessories, shoes, or a little bit of luggage to jump on that plane, trust and believe Market Street Shoes has everything that you need. You just need to pull up and find it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org.
All right, Trey Holiday. Are we going to get it nut cracking?
I'm ready to get it nut cracking, man. I haven't seen that show in a long time, so I'm looking forward to it, oh.
Yeah, no, I bring that up. I was here with Gravbot on Monday, and when we played that ad there, we talked about it. He was like, yeah, man, we're going to get it nut cracking. I was like, that might stick around.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, so we're working on some campaign mechanics, as they call it right now. And man, you guys are going to be coming with us to go see the Nutcracker. And it's going to be dope. We're going to have a night out there, Pacific Northwest Ballet.
Oh, I'm so excited about it because honestly, we've been talking about the fact that historically Black communities have always been involved in the arts, and the ballet is a definite part of that. And so, making that connection, man, for some of our audience members to join us, I'm excited.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you, at least back when Acacia was younger, all the mamas was like, man, put my baby in ballet. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a connection that's already there. You know what I'm saying? The being able to, a lot of times it was prohibitive though, either because of distance, to like ballet studio, or cost and things like that. But that's always the things you think about, especially when you got little girls. So what we're talking about here is we got a motion graphic. Go ahead and put that up, Morales. Councilmember Tammy J. Morales joins community to grieve and plan urgent action with mayor-elect after Mount Baker shooting. And this was put out by Councilmember Morales on the 22nd. Like I said, we were in Belize when she put this out. And it said, my thoughts are with the victims of this tragedy, talking about the shooting there at Mount Baker Station, their loved ones, and the entire Mount Baker community that has seen a surge in shootings and crimes against small businesses and community spaces. When incidents of violence occur in any community, its impacts are deeply and personally felt by those who live, work, shop, and frequent the space. It is unacceptable, and our city must continue to invest in solutions that combat the root cause of violence, prioritizing housing, behavioral health services, and employment opportunities to ensure basic needs are met. Now, the council member goes on in here to talk about some of her planning, meeting with community groups, reaching out to Mayor-elect Harrell to try to work closely with him, and also King County Council member Gurmai Zahalai, who's also that district, Seattle's District 2 also lies within King County Council member Zahalai's district, and working with Council member Zahalai as well. Now, I bring this up, Trey Holiday, because people who've been watching their morning updates, I'll go hard in the paint about our people who, more often than not, the trauma that they're experiencing hasn't been recognized at all or acknowledged. And, I've been saying for a long time that it don't cost nothing to just say, like, man, I understand. I'm sorry for you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't involve any finger pointing or anything, but it just acknowledges that you recognize that people are in trauma and things like that. And so, when people have said nothing, I've made sure people, hey, why isn't somebody saying something? But, Councilmember Morales put out this statement here, and this was on the 22nd. We're just getting back. I see it. She put the statement out. I wanted to make sure and make mention of it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's been a recurring theme here, particularly because as we, dove into it yesterday, we're connected to a lot of the violence that is going on. We are community members ourselves, right? We may be doing this platform with Converge and TV, but we come from the Central District. And honestly, we know a lot of the families that are suffering in the rise of this gun violence. And so I love that we have really always kept that message alive in terms of why is no one saying anything. And this is a great, step in the right direction for Councilmember Morales to say, you know what, no, let me step out. There's a lot going on in District 2 in general. And so to be able to really represent, the people there as she was elected to do, I think it's so important. But it really is a step in the right direction. And working alongside community members, those who have lost their loved ones, Mayor-elect Harrell, this is important right now. We need this kind of, lean in and compassion being shown as we're all dealing with this rise in gun violence.
Right. And also, King County Council member Gurmai Zahalai could teach a master class on just being able to reach out and to let it be known. And sometimes the council member is able to reach out directly to the family, or sometimes the council member is able to share his thoughts through his social media and his information platforms. But, council member Zahalai has stayed out. It's unfortunate, these things that occur, in our district. And with him, that's the Central District, the South End, and Skyway. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot of territory there where a lot of gun violence is occurring. And so I was able to speak briefly with Council Member Morales yesterday, just a few minutes on the phone. And the council member agreed next week She's going to join us, and we're going to further this discussion. We want to talk to her more about her plan in reading the statement there. It was kind of like, okay, let me speak to the trauma that's occurring. Second thing is, how can we make a plan to impact right now? The third thing is how can we be putting resources upstream? So let's start the conversation. We're here for it. And also, one thing I want to point out, so people know and you realize, like when Trayana said, is this is very personal to us as converts. These are our neighbors, our friends. We know these people who are dying, either directly or indirectly. Our kids are friends with them, or this and that. So it is something that's personal to us. But also, I want to point out, because a lot of times people think that I got a grudge or an issue with somebody. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it was good to talk to Councilmember Morales yesterday. It's like, man, I ain't got no issue with anybody. I just want people to care. I just want people to care about people in our neighborhood. I don't have any issue with anybody in city government. They're more than welcome here anytime. Let's talk about it. And so I'm very happy Councilmember Morales is going to come in next week, and we can discuss more about her efforts to disrupt violence and also make investments upstream.
Yeah, this is really important, and I agree 100%, like 1,000% about all of your comments about Councilmember Girmay Zahalai. I have been saying it, but for me, he is changing the game when it comes to politics, and I see him being everywhere, being present, being accountable, being compassionate, showing his empathy for all of these issues. When we're talking about how gentrification is now starting to sweep Skyway, he's there. When we're talking about this rise in gun violence, he's there. And so I really think he really is a grand example of how you can be connected to your community at the level that he is as a King County Council member. He stays connected. And this is another reason why I love how we have made this message really alive and clear here on the Morning Update Show, to hold our council members and elected officials accountable. Because when I see someone like Girmay Zahalai out there doing it, that council member is showing you how it gets done, how you stay, on the ground, but also staying at the policy level, doing the work that you need to do as a council member.
Right. And I would say this is that, of course, and unfortunately in a way, but of course, Councilmember Zahalai has a very natural rapport, growing up in that district, going to Franklin High School, and he himself has been impacted by some of these homicides that have occurred there in his district. But he has a rapport, something that he's grown up, right? And unfortunately, the violence here has been generational. Some of our other council members, man, that might not have been their life journey or experience. They might be struggling with how best to communicate, how best to let the public know, like, hey, man, we're with you. And I would just say that it's like, man, people going to take you as you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's understandable that if you've never grown up around this, you've never seen your friends die and murdered, and, some of the stuff that we've seen ourselves, that you don't have to be anything but yourself to just let somebody know that you care. And so, you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And we've talked about that, the authenticity of you as a person, showing that genuine care and love. You said it before too, where you're like, look, it just coming out and saying, hey, I recognize this is going on. Even if you're not personally affected, it's people that you are, that they're your constituents. They are the ones that are being affected. So when you come out as your genuine self, you're absolutely right. People definitely respect that and appreciate it.
Right. And I just dipped into the comments while you were there. And actually, we've got Donita. She's in the comments and just commented. And I think that the best thing that we can continue to do is, like you said, is be able to hold people accountable. And I think that our viewers should realize that it's like, we ain't trying to hold people accountable for Omari or for Trayana or even for Converge. We try to hold people accountable for the people in our community who ain't got the voice that we got, who ain't got, a council member could call them or call them back, or can call the mayor's office and everything else. Now, we the conduit for the community. And that's why it's important for us to use our platform to make sure that people are accountable to our grieving mothers and family and friends and on our neighborhood and everything else. And while I see you watching here, you go wide, Curtis. That we see you watching here, Donita. Want to send you a whole lot of love. And you know what I'm saying? And we've been mentioning names.
Yep.
We'll say his name. Lorenzo Anderson Jr. You know, and man, we here for you. Donita said, so Donita, she wants to get into, we're going to work together as far as building a media platform for her.
Yeah.
For podcasting and everything else, because she has a lot to say and she has a lot of good things to offer the world out there, you know, in Lorenzo's name. So we're here for you for that, Donita. Absolutely.
Glad you're on, sis.
So we're going to stay on top of this issue here. And, you know, the Councilmember Morales has put it out there. And so, man, we're going to hold her accountable to it. And she'll be here next week to talk about it more.
Good. I'm glad for that. And I'm excited to actually dive deeper into what it looks like, particularly when we talk about investing in that upstream. I think that's really important. We've kept that message alive here as well.
Yeah. And you know what would also be good, what we need to do is that there's lots of organizations that are definitely at the table when it comes to these things right here, and they should be at the table. I'm not saying anybody shouldn't be there, but you know what? We need to make sure that we're leaving some space for these mamas that are impacted. They need to be at the table. A lot of these guys got great programs they're trying to go and everything else. They're not included in budget conversations. They're not included in any kind of conversation out there. And you know what we like to say in the community is those closest to the problem or closest to the solution, these mamas that are out there grieving are closest to the problem. And you know what? They have ideas as well. And man, maybe one thing Converge can do is, man, we can infer like, hey, I remember one time I was up there was a big meeting that was going on at City Council, and they were talking something. I said, have you guys talked to anybody who's lost someone? Or are you just talking to Twitter? Have you talked to anyone who's lost someone? And so I think that maybe one of the things we can bring up when we talk to Councilmember Morales next week is, man, how can we more involve these people who have suffered these losses and have great ideas and want to be part of the solution, but they've been left out of the conversation.
Oh, you know, Omari, I love that. And I really think that when we talk about the way to do business better is to center those who have been at the heart of the issue. And we talk about it with homelessness. We talk about it with so many other things when it comes to economic issues, even in cannabis equity. They talk about how do we center those that were the most harmed by the war on drugs. Well, here we have it again. These mothers actually need to be leading these discussions, if you ask me. It needs to come from them in terms of approaches that can be taken, in terms of how to eradicate this, and also how to care for families on the back end. If a family is unfortunate to have to suffer through a loss, through this rise in violence, how are we caring for them? And nobody better than the families that have been at the center of that loss can really guide and lead that discussion.
Yeah,
agreed.
No, this was good. We're in a good position here for people to literally converge.
Yeah.
For elected officials, for community activists, for advocates, for those most impacted to converge. You know, this can definitely be a place for solution right here. And like I said, I'm happy to have this conversation here today because for well before the protests, you know, people really saw us in the protests for years. This has been our message for years in addressing this and addressing this gun violence, addressing these things, addressing what's impacting our community, wanting people just to care. And so, yeah, like maybe this might be a change or something to come. So we're going to stay on it. We're going to take a quick, matter of fact, you guys ZYD? All right, we're going to take a quick ZYD break. When we come back, it's Throwback Thursday here on the Morning Update Show.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, brown, and indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, brown, and indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. What's up, Trey Holiday?
Hey, man, this is a great show today. I'm loving the energy, yo.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's a good show, and it's important. And I know there's so many other things that are out there, so many issues, and man, on the national level and on the local level and everything else. But this issue around gun violence and violence in our community and how it's impacting us and impacting the city, I don't think that there's anything more important. It's just something that we've been on and we'll stay on. And, you know, and again, sending much love out to you, Donita. Somebody else who watches the show a lot is Alicia Dasa. Man, it's crazy. I need to print all the names because there's so many parents who be tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll put something special together for them before the end of the year. Yeah. All right, it's Thursday, and don't worry. So put us on wide here, Mr. Delgado. Don't worry, we're working with the Black Heritage Society of Washington State and Stephanie Johnson Tolliver. And in 2022, every picture that you see here is going to be a Throwback Thursday. Yeah. We're telling a story here on the wall. Give us a little bit of time for that. For now, though, wanted to go back 12 months, exactly 1 year today. Man, it was probably one of my biggest moments ever on the Morning Update Show. And it was big for me. For a lot of you guys might know, some of you don't. I spent the majority of my career working in media across the continent of Africa and in the Middle East. And the place that I stayed the most, and which I learned the most and elevated the most and did so many amazing things, was Clouds Media Group in Tanzania. And it's 20-something years old. It's not Clouds Computing. You know, it was cool, lovable, outrageous, unique, dynamic sound. Clouds, right? And one of the people I worked there with was Abby Platchich. And Abby, I used to call her my radio wife because we were there together at 102.6 Choice FM in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And coming back here to Seattle is crazy because this is massive over there. You know, I mean, Clouds FM is like the fourth or fifth biggest radio station as far as listenership on the continent of Africa. You know, and the whole group, 13, 14 TV radio stations, I'd be there, and Kenya, Uganda, Botswana, all over the place. You know what I'm saying? There and into the Middle East to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, all that stuff there was part of the same group. And me and Abby, we go so far back. And for me, I'm always wondering, like, how do my people over in Africa, how are they feeling about what I'm doing here? Because I tell people all the time, I grew up in an African media house. I really learned everything I know over there. And so 1 year ago today, I was fortunate. Abby stopped by the studio. You know, some of the interviews that you saw, that and catching up here, everything that I talked about was this experience that I had on the continent, this experience that I had there at Clouds Media Group, in Tanzania and other places across East Africa, but especially in Tanzania. And it forged so much of who I am. It forged so much of what. Can you do me a favor, please, Abby?
Oh my gosh, what? I'll do anything for you. You know that, but what?
I want you to do me a really big favor. When you get back there to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, you get back there to East Africa, and you see people like Joseph Kusaga and Ruben Ndege and Chris Lugo and Lee India Saba. Let them know what their boy's up to out here.
Oh,
let them know that
me.
I'm forever grateful for those experiences that I had there in that African media house.
You know what you're going to do? You're going to like encourage so many people to want to come and have the African journalist experience before they do anything else. I think it just creates legends. You can't go wrong with it. You're standing here. So, and I mean, this is just the beginning for you. So we're very proud of you, Omari. There's nothing more satisfying or beautiful than seeing somebody who came to you like with a clean slate. It's like a canvas, completely clean. And you got painted with all of your experiences and all of your time spent with us. And then you brought all of that back here. And now you're implementing it here. It's beautiful to see. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's, oh my gosh, no.
Oh, don't worry, I won't. It's already an emotional show here. It's Abby, asante sana.
Thank you.
Nashukuru sana.
It's been amazing.
Safari njema.
Nashukuru sana, asante.
Oh my God, I remember the day. I can't believe it was already a year ago this day. You know what? Abby came in with the best energy ever. And to be honest, I have heard so much about your stories overseas and abroad and your media experience. But to meet Abby and to get Abby's perspective on you while you were over there, it was so insightful. And I promise you, it was like, it really was. It was a whole vibe that day. Abby came in and really cemented the fact that I love what she said there, that the inspiration for people to understand what they can learn over on the continent of Africa. And you have been an example to bring it right on back home. That's one of the things I really love about the whole entire Converge story is your time there and how we get to benefit from all the things that you learned over there today.
Yeah, let's be very clear. When people give me and Converge a lot of props, I'm looking to the camera and say this. I grew up in an African media house, seeing the hustle and the dedication of people like Abby, like Joseph Kusaga, like Ruben Ndege, like Chris Lugo, like Lee India Saba, like Vanessa Mdee, who's like, blowing up. I mean, these were people I got a pleasure to work with every day. And man, it's that work ethic that drives this organization. So Abby, I talked to Abby this morning and, the plan was we're already going to launch the studio here. And of course, my dad has some health challenges. And so as he recovers, we're going to get the dates together. And she says she's coming. She says she'll be back out here when we launch the wall.
Amazing.
We'll launch the studio.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to that. And, it reminds me of us celebrating our 1 year anniversary. We're going to keep on having things to celebrate here over at Converge. Beautiful.
Kind of a big deal. We're going to take a quick break right now. We come back. We're talking about the soul
market.
The soul market. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale, performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra, playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. Tickets and health and safety information at pnb.org. From Lincoln Center Theater that brought you The King and I and South Pacific comes a revival of the most perfect musical of all time, My Fair Lady.
Playing the Paramount Theater December 28th to January 2nd. Tickets at stgpresents.org.
Lisa Gordon here on Converge Media, giving you that tea you didn't know you needed for Market Street Shoes over in Ballard. Check this out. Not only do they have great shoes for the summertime, but they have the shoes that you didn't even know you needed for the fall and winter. We all know it not only rains and snows a lot out here, so you definitely need those boots, but you also need a little bit of luggage, or at least a bag to put your clothes in, because let's be frank, we all love to get out of here during the fall and winter and go somewhere a little bit warmer. So whether you need accessories, shoes, or a little bit of luggage to jump on that plane, trust and believe Market Street Shoes has everything that you need. You just need to pull up and find it.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Okay, let's get it nut cracking. Yo, that's gonna be dope. I tell you, I took my daughter to see the Nutcracker 2 years ago down in Houston, and it was all right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, Trey Holiday. So we see this here. This is actually something, and I guess we could talk about this for a minute or two, which we have maybe a minute or two. It's Friends of the Waterfront. We see that there's soul markets coming up, and we'll let you explain what it's all about. But Friends of the Waterfront, the best thing we can say about this soul market that's occurring is it wasn't because they, after the civil unrest and the protests for Black lives and DEI initiatives, that Friends of the Waterfront is now reaching out to do a soul market. Me, 100% could say it was almost 2 years ago, talking to Friends of the Waterfront, and they wanted to see how they could engage more in Seattle's legacy Black community to do events there at the waterfront. And so when we're talking about this, the best thing is it isn't like, well, we got to figure out something to do for the Black people here before the end of the year to make sure we check a box. This has actually been years in the making. And of course, you know, COVID stopped everything. But it is kind of refreshing to know that this was an intentionality well before last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I can say about Friends at the Waterfront is that their intentionality is really shown through this year. We saw it with their concert series, how they were bringing acts that were local acts, a lot of Black acts too, to the waterfront. And now you have this soul market where they're bringing Black vendors in and other vendors. It's going to be exciting, because you're right. This has been a long-standing effort. And I remember meeting somebody all the way, like you said, 2 years ago, that was like, hey, we're really trying to plug in, we want to connect. And they were going through the right kind of platforms, right? They were going through organizations that are already plugged in with communities. They were coming to people to say, man, how do we do this best? And they really laid it out. So, hey, here we are now, we're still in COVID, but we're finding ways to do things. Of course, people being masked up and staying safe, but looking forward to this. It's going to be a good one.
All right, so we got an overlay. Curtis will put that up. Actually, it's a motion graphic. So why don't you tell us all about it, Trey?
Well, again, like I said, here we have the soul market coming up. You guys, if you guys are looking for Black vendors, any way to circulate Black dollars or figure out how to connect and plug in, this is a great way to do it. There's so many different events, but I love that they're doing a culmination event at the end of the year to really bring it home and to bring vendors to you and make it accessible. Right there on the waterfront, so you guys can check out Friends at the Waterfront, get all the details. We had the overlay there, but for me, I'm excited because a lot of the vendors that are going to be there, I know and I support already. And I'm telling you, there's some amazing products and services with these guys. But also, I want to just give a shout out to the customer service. As we were talking about it with Alaska Airlines, you get an impeccable customer service when you have a local vendor that you can start building relationship with. And hey, if something gets defective or something messes up, you can reach out to them. It happened to me, and I just connect with people. They're like, oh, no problem. Let me send you a few more candles, keeping our relationship thriving. And I love that.
Yeah. And so this is December 12th and 13th. When we say waterfront, we mean Pier 62 right there on the waterfront. Yeah. And yeah, one thing I can say is we had fun this year going to a lot of the pop-ups, and where it was a lot of the vendors and everything. And the food's always, everybody else is into all the other stuff, buying stuff. I'm not really like a shopper like that, but you always find me where the food is.
Always.
Yeah, you'll find me there. All right, we're welcoming back. See, she was hanging out with you, so they had to put the show on vacation. We're welcoming back tonight at 7 o'clock, Clapback Culture with Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald and our good buddy Julia Jesse. And man, Julia is still riding away from her time down there in Belize. Tonight, 7 o'clock. What are they talking about tonight, Cuddy? Uh-oh, he said they might even go overtime. Boy, yeah, I mean, it's been a few weeks, right? Okay, he's putting a link in the comments now. Let's welcome back Julia Jesse and Mike Davis properly as Clapback Culture returns to the air.
Yeah, this is exciting because, while we were down there in Belize, Jules, we were talking about so many different topics. I am sure it's going to be jam-packed. They got Director Cuddy at the helm making it happen. And honestly, I love to see their camaraderie between Jules and Mike. So, hey, tune in tonight, 7 p.m., y'all.
All right, good stuff. Man, this is a nice show, Trey. Yeah. I'll say this too, is like the countdown is on. When people see everything that we're rolling out here beginning of the year, it's gonna be really, really dope. And I'm always giving thanks. I'm not here tomorrow. Tomorrow is your day. But let me give some thanks to you, Trey Holiday. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. I was writing up something last night, and people should know that Treyana Holiday, A1 from day one here on the Morning Update Show. And back then when we started, it was a lockdown. And so like now people come in the city, you got meetings, work and everything else. Treyana would drive up every day from Federal Way to do this show. It was a 2-hour show then. It was cracking. 2-hour show. And you would go back, you know what I'm saying, the intentionality of it. And just want to say that I'm thankful for your commitment. That's a big word for us here at Converge. Where it always starts, what's your commitment? I ask people, what's your commitment? What's your commitment? But that's not even a question I'd ever have to ask, because your actions prove your commitment here to Converge, but also to communicating and uplifting our community.
Thank you so much. Oh, that means the world. I think that's part of the moniker I'm always having. I can't tell you guys to see yourself as part of the solution if I'm not doing that work. So thanks so much. Oh, it's been an amazing ride, and I know we got so much more to go. And honestly, I think it's important because both of us really share that passion and that love for our people and for our community, and to be able to have a platform like this to express that is just a real gem in my world. So glad to be with you, bro.
All right, good stuff. Last words.
Man, please see yourself as part of the solution. Always going to be my moniker, because we are better off when so many more of us are stepping forward in our purpose. And I know that that's what O loves to say, but I'm telling you, if you have concerns or questions about it, O's always putting his email out there. I'll put mine out there. You guys can reach out to me, Trey Holiday, TraeHoliday @gmail.com. If you have any concerns or, hey, how do I do this? I have an idea. I'm not sure how to do it. I want to help you see yourself as part of the solution. Reach out to me.
Man, you popping off that backdrop, dog. So people, we got a bunch of screens up here where we see everything. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for staying 3 minutes with us over time. Really appreciate you. I'm off tomorrow, but tomorrow is Feel Good Friday with my good buddy here, Trey Holiday, and joined by State Representative Jesse Johnson, represents Federal Way and a bunch of other spaces. So he'll be here tomorrow, and it's definitely going to be a feel good space. On that note, because that's its own show, Feel Good Friday, right? So on that note, go forward with your purpose, go forward with your humanity, and until tomorrow at 11 for Feel Good Friday and Monday at 11 for the Morning Update Show. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.